Hello ladies and gentlemen, YouTube and Forged Alliance players. Today we're going to take a look at three separate things. Number one, a game that I played 14 years ago. Yeah, I played Forged Alliance 14 years ago. And I'm going to try casting it. Now the quality is a little shaky because it's just the way YouTube was back then. But I'm going to give it my best shot. The second of all, I did a dual cast with Willow's Duality the other day. Big time Forged Alliance forever caster, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And it was really nice for him to have me on. You know what I mean? This is a tiny little channel that's come out of nowhere. So I'm going to share my thoughts on that as well. And, you know, also a little bit about, I'll sort of say who I used to be, because again, I used to play this game, and, you know, 14 years ago is when I played it, and I've got the proof. And so without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty then. So here, of course, we're on the FAF Cast Division channel. Who, you know, there's just a little something I'm doing here on the side for a little bit of fun. And hopefully, you know, for you guys to enjoy it as well. And so, first off, let's come over. Now, I used to be, and for anybody that played back then, and Willow's Duality, you know, he was trying to get me back into it. You know, unfortunately, I just haven't the time, or I tried getting back in the skill and whatever. It's very difficult to do. But allow me to bring over my left screen here real quick. This here is my old YouTube channel. And this here was my player name, Baby Alien, from ways back when. And if we scroll down, here are some videos that I uploaded 14 years ago to YouTube. Forged Alliance on dual screen, because back then, there was no such thing as... Well, for a start, hardly anybody had two screens. And if you did... It certainly wasn't capable of playing a game until Supreme Commander and Forged Alliance came out. I'll tell you what, actually, Supreme Commander was of an era where you went to the shop to buy the game. That's how long ago it was. And I enjoyed Total Annihilation. And I was one of those that the day it was coming out, I remember getting on the bus because there was no shop that sold games in our town, to go over to the next town to get, oh, like, please, do you have this game in? And they're like, yeah, we'll just come in today, or whatever it was. And I remember buying one and being all excited and getting home. And, you know, and I must have played this for at least 2 or 3 years. Now, I also here made the tips and tricks videos. You can see here. That did fairly well, 43,000 views. But probably the thing that I enjoyed making the most was this here. And I'm not going to say his name because I don't want this channel getting shut down before I've started. But let's just say the guy with the tash. I made a spoof video there. Now the language is all in German. I'm sure some of you have seen this kind of thing before. I did that 14 years ago. I did that back before people did that. And I had a lot of fun doing so. So, you know, if you haven't seen that, do check the channel out. And little claim to, I say a claim to fame, is it Echo's Light? But have a look at this. I have had one viral video. Look at that. 23 million views, and if you click on it, I've had over 20,000 comments and 450,000 likes. Now, I reckon all my videos across all my other channels that I'm doing forever ain't gonna get that many likes ever again. So it's like a one-hit wonder was that. But yeah, that's my little thing. All right. Next thing then, my thoughts on the dual cast, or the co-cast I did with Willow's Duality. First of all, I'll let you into a bit of a secret and behind the scenes. So Willow was the guy that reached out to me. I'd had 1 or 2 people in the comments saying, hey, you know, you should do a cast with Willow. And I thought, well, he'll never want to. I mean, but to my surprise and to his credit, he jumped onto one of my live casts and started typing. Now, I didn't see it at the time because I was too busy, you know, casting the game. But as soon as I finished and I looked over and, oh, Willow has been in chat. And so, you know, we start the discussion a little bit. And he was really, really nice. And I'm sure some of you must think, you know, all these YouTubers have got all this energy and I aren't really like that. Okay. we don't really talk like that all the time. We're not like, hi, hey, like all the time. It's not really like that. We talk, a little more like this sort of when we're not on, we're trying to make the things sound exciting. And don't get me wrong, we get excited about it as well. So that it's not all fake, but it's like when you hit that record button, you go from just chit chat mode to hello, everybody, and getting excited. And so to see both sides of that is very interesting. But I can say this about Willow. He didn't have to come over to me. He was the one in this case with the established channel. He's got over 4,000 subscribers. I barely just broke through 100. And it's not only that. If you really think about it, I'm a direct, as it were, competitor to Willow. Yeah, there's only so many Forged Alliance players. There's only so many people that want to watch the game. And so if my channel was to, if I was to just focus on Forged Alliance and make it really big and not look at anything else on YouTube, I would potentially be taking away views from Willow, or at least being a direct rival and competitor to his channel. And so for him to reach out to me and to offer that to everybody else as well, this was the thing. Like he says, everybody who starts a channel and who starts doing FAF, who's a bit of a track record as to making FAF videos, he will sort of reach out and give a hand up and introduce them to the community. And I just thought, that's a really nice thing. And we were talking about one or two other things as well. And I'll just say this: it's for those. I mean, it should be obvious anyway, but this guy cares about not just Forged Alliance as a game, but the whole FAF community. And he means well, he does well. And for those that don't know, about a year ago, he's doing the whole YouTube thing full time, and he's putting what he's putting his time and his money and his investment in improving, everything about that. So, he's learning on improving videos. He's the money that he gets is reinvesting into the channel buying stuff. And of course, even YouTubers have got to eat as well, and with him doing it full time. And so I would say, if you like what he does and you've seen what he does for a while, and he's clearly got a track record of doing it for years, if you have a few quid or dollars or bucks or whatever you want to call it, wherever you're from, euros, do consider dropping it in, and it's not just that you get access to his videos about a day before anybody else. It's that you're supporting somebody who is supporting the entire community, and he's going to be there as well once this Sanctuary game comes out, and so it's not just like he's there for this and that's it. He is there for the community, for the RTS that is going to be what we could arguably call the spiritual successor to Forged Alliance. And so I don't want to say that. And with regards to the cast, it was obviously my first time ever at co-casting Forged Alliance. It's kind of weird because when you cast yourself, it's real easy, right? I say real easy. That's not entirely true, but it's like you're the only one there. Like if you don't say anything, it's going to be dead air apart from the pew 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 from the thing. And so having that, so what? Like you'll say something and then pause, and then when you've run dry, then I'll say something. And I think, but what if you're saying something? This is just what I'm thinking in my mind. Like you're saying something, and then I see something up the side, and like, can I cut across? And then are you going to cut into me when the same thing? And it's like, and then I think that did happening 2 or 3 times. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It does seem kind of like, well, you never let the other guy finish. Well, sometimes stuff is unfolding so quickly that, that kind of happens now. There's a couple of sort of weird awkwardness. The way that I get to see the same thing that he sees, I thought, we'll both play the replay at the same time and then comment on what we see. But Willow says, we get desynced on that. Now, I knew that was the case always. I didn't know that issue hadn't been resolved. Turns out not. And so what actually happened is I ended up watching what he sees, and then we're both commenting on that, which makes sense. The thing is, sometimes when he moves his screen around for like a second or two, and it could be that I'm in the UK and he's in the US, I see like it a bit blurry before it clears up, for like only if he moves the screen And so if he like suddenly moves to a new area and I'm seeing these blobs and I go, oh, look at the Seraphinati, because to me, they were Seraphinati going across the sea. And then like he says, no, they're Aeon. And as he says that, the screen suddenly clears up. And it only takes like a second or two and it clears up. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, they're the Aeon Auroras. And so my original point was these Arty are going to wipe out those naval yards. Turns into, actually, it's not going to do anything. And so there's a couple of very minor issues like that. Hopefully Summit that, you know, if we end up doing this again, I think Willow's agreed to do one of these on my channel as well. We'll have to see. But yeah, again, can't praise him enough for offering. And again, it's not just because it's me. You know, to say I don't care is not true. Of course I care. But it's I'm not trying to make a living on this channel. This is just something for me to have a little bit of fun, to comment on a game that I used to love. And speaking of commenting on a game that I used to love, here is me playing 14 years ago, I believe. Somebody else captured it, but I'm going to try and cast myself playing it. Now, the sound that he had is, you don't hear the game, you just hear his computer fan and his mouse clicking. But the guy who uploaded the channel is Heavenwarz. Unfortunately, is no longer around, at least YouTube, kind of like the Baby Alien 83. I mean, we're still here, I assume, and I was in his clan. He was the clan leader, and this was the guy, by the way. You know that map? I'll let you into another little secret here. That map, Thermodomo Lopalopalopoly, whatever it was called, and it was, you know, the one where there's the two big cliffs at either side where nobody's allowed to build on. There's that thin passage down the middle and the base, and like you still get it played quite a lot, but ways back when loads of people used to play it. Well, this guy made that map, and I'll let you into a secret. 2 or 3 weeks after he made it, he saw everybody on Forged Alliance was playing it. He regretted making that map because he said it's a very one-dimensional map, and if only I'd have known that so many people were going to play it so much of the time, I would never have made it. And that's what he said to me ways back when we used to, you know, play as a clan. And the clan was the letter X, the number 1, and then the letter N, and it was you know, we were sort of one of the middle ones. And so yeah, I don't know if you can just about see my name there, Baby Alien. You know, that was my tag. And I know I'm big time UEF, but on today's game, I'm going to play as Seraphine. And so I'm going to, I was going to say shut up, but that's not quite the right word. Let's see how the players are going to go. So introducing here in black in Seraphine, going first land. 14 years ago, it's Baby Alien. Let's see what's going to happen. All right, there we go. So unfortunately, there is no game sound. And yeah, so he's zooming in and out. You know, there's nothing I can do. I'm just playing what he captured. And again, it's this old 4:3 sort of TV ratio thing. I've done my best there. And so what I'm going to do, for those who haven't seen this is Seton's clutch. He's obviously sped up the time. You know, I'm getting the factory, the mass points. I do put 2 power gens down before going for the hydro. Again, the eco was potentially slightly different. Let me just, hang on, let me just slow down time a little bit. Where are we here? Settings, playback speed, because he's playing it pretty fast. I'm aware it's going to screw up our frame rate potentially, but it's going to be a little bit slower. He's got, you know, nothing I can do about him zooming in and out. And so I'm Seraphine, and I'm going to completely exploit the shit out of the floating artillery. Now, the reason, now look at this. I was a Seton's player, and I knew every slot. Back then, I knew how to play it. I was best at the front, but I knew how to play every slot. I knew the perfect, what would you call it, the build order. I knew the perfect build order, and you can see here, you know, I'm getting pretty close. So I knew that if you started building Air Factory right after the hydro on these clump of trees, that you couldn't normally do that back then. But because there was a clump of trees, the commander, whoever it was, would have to reclaim some of these trees before it could start building the Air Factory. And that reclaiming of those trees would give you just enough to be able to build the Air Fac without stalling. So that was my thinking there. You see here that my plan now is to spam land factories all around the mass points. Again, I'm making or exploiting the adjacency bonus here, and you can see I've got one land fact spitting out NGs, and so far I've got 6 RT, or I say RT, I've got 6 land factories queued. I'm now working on the second air factory, but first off, I'm going to put some more power down. I've clearly got engineers going to all the usual places, starting to get, the mass points and starting on reclaim duty. And you can see those are starting to come away. Now, what I've done is setting my factories here. I'm going to give them all a rally point, and that rally point is to meet over here in the lower left-hand side. Now, this is a slight change, again, from the way that players were then versus now, and, slight balance changes. And that is clearly here. We're coming up to 3 minutes, as for best I can tell, 50 seconds there. Now, I've already got a transport and artillery out, but in today's games, certainly the high-end ones, 3 minute, 50 seconds, it's likely that you would have been picked up by a scout at this point. And so I'm not 100% sure this build would work. But you see, continuously pumping out more Sarah. And if you look at my eco here, it's very finely balanced on the mass. Like, I'm like 20 mass, 40 mass. I'm completely relying on the reclaim at this point to see what can get done. Now, finally switches into global view. We've got the front base. Looks like here in this case, we've got blue assisting. Carl Ecos, I remember this guy. And these are from the days where I think your score was global still. So you had a vague idea of what somebody on the other team was doing based on the score. Now, here's my first transport coming in, Sarah Transport, 4 minutes 50, some fully laden with REs. There's the second transport. I'm making use of these ferry waypoints using the F key. And so looks like first one is, am I dropping on the front guy? I've got the second one away and just continuing to make more artillery. And again, very, very finely balanced eco here. Looks like I'm slightly stalling on mass, but only just. So here's the first drop, 5 minutes some in behind the front player. Going to go for mass. What I really want to go for is his power, but, Sarah can shoot while they move. There's nothing there, and the guy's going down. So I'm just rolling these forwards now with the the hydro taken out, and knowing that he's quite slow at responding. And look at this. Now, if this was today, you'd build labs to deal with that. And now I'm dropping on the rock. Now, the reason I dropped up there, not right next to his base, is I felt that I could land there for sure without any bother. And this guy doesn't even know I'm there. Look at this. He just sees his mass point go. He didn't have a radar there yet. And yeah, front position there. This is going to be very hard for Wrestling, the yellow guy, to come up with. All right, so we've got artillery there. He finally realizes I'm there. He was trying to upgrade a mass point, and so he's forced to come after my artillery. The problem is, all right, looks like he got most of them. Here is another drop already. So I've now dropped to the south. This guy is now completely overrun. I wish he would switch to global view at this point so we can see what's going on. And it looks like somebody, Frontier, was surprised at look at all these transports and artillery. So this is pretty cool. So let's increase the speed slightly to 0.75. And so now, yeah, just moving artillery units over waypoints, not giving them time to chase me, exploiting the speed and their range. Now, see here, this guy's starting to build navy, and of course, the Seraphim arty can float. Got more and more and more. And yeah, we're at 8 minutes here, and there's so many arties on the other side of the map. And again, a little bit lucky that they weren't cutting me off at source, but at this point, I feel they're going to be so busy tied up in defending their own bases that they've probably not got enough stuff even available to cut me off at source. I'm already taking out the air player's eco here. His ACU forced to come out of base. Massive drop off the coastline off the opposing beach player. Again, recognizing these navy yards. And I can bring those in land now. There is nothing that guy can do about that at minute 9. Like, even if he brings out a frigate or a sub or 5 frigates, I've got, what, so many artillery pieces down there that are just coming in to land. It looks like an attack move. Further drops over here, harassing Cliff. More drops going after the center. And at this point, if the South team don't feel like giving up, I don't know what is going to make them want to give up. This here is just going to annihilate Beach. I mean, I don't know exactly how many units are down there. There's about 30 artillery pieces, 10 minutes into the game off the coast. I mean, what you're going to do, you need to really be Tech 2 to deal with that, or have a whole bunch of I mean, what would you do with that on 10 minutes? I mean, in a standard build, again, it's all about seeing that it's coming before it comes, really. I think wait until it arrives and then dealing with it is clearly too late. More drops on the front guy. I mean, that's Beach wiped out. He's lost his main base. He's lost Navy. Going after the the air guy now and his main base, and just more and more and more. Just building more and more and more. And if you look at my economy now, I'm finally starting to float mass. I'm already upgrading some of the mass points at this point, just slowly, one after the other, and just spreading RT everywhere. And, you know, another massive wave. It's nice here that one or two of my allies are starting to give me some air cover and air protection. My ACU is already Tech 2. So, you know, I'm working on economy. That's the front base completely dealt with. Beach is completely dealt with. And right now, you know, we know Cliff. It seems like the only guy who's even somewhat of a threat is the opposing air guy. But my guy here, you know, Unlucky 6, I mean, look at this. He's already got ASF to the side at map. Minute 13. And so Frontier, the final guy, look, I mean, he's doing the right idea. He's got land. He's putting land factories down. He realizes we need to stop with this artillery. Rock's starting to recover, so I roll another, I don't know, 100. I say 100. It's more like, I don't know, what's that, 30, 40 artillery pieces. Again, it's a old blurry footage, but I mean, he's doing his best to deal with it. But I mean, what do you do? And if that don't make you feel like quitting, I don't know what will. And it looks like at this point he's probably even given up dancing. Frontier now. Have I got him? Oh, he's trying. He's trying to dance, but I don't think he's got the moves. And there he goes. And there goes Beach player as well. And so that really just leaves Frontier. I mean, look at this. To his credit, Air players spammed so many land. Look how many land factories he's got to deal with. I just feel, you know, if he'd have put a bit of air in and, you know, put some air, tried to cut me off at source. I mean, right there, well over 100 artillery pieces moving in. I'm not sure they're even going to get to the far side because I think at this point he's given up. I mean, look at this. He's sending in what looks like Auroras to deal with my RT drop, which is, you know, it's a, oh my goodness, there's so many here. Credit to responding to the threat, but it's like, at this point, it feels like he's completely let go of the air game and he's just going to try and deal with my drops once they've already dropped. And that's going to allow the other three players on my team, who at this point have got absolutely nothing to do, because I've basically won the game for the entire team here. My three players now can do whatever they want, build a nuke, build strap bombs, build whatever. I mean, he don't even see this coming. I never would have thought these would have got there. He's got all his Auroras in the wrong place. No. Oh, man. Man, was I an evil fucking bastard when it came to this game. And if I told you that didn't feel good, yeah, that sort of thing felt good. And now it's got the strap bombers from Carlikos coming in as well. Yeah. And that is the end of that. And I hope you enjoyed that. I know some people wanted to see a game of you know, where I played. There he goes, going off. It's just a formality getting the last guy at this point. And so with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. And I realize it's a little bit different, but, you know, we'll get back to casting a game hopefully later today. And until then, wherever in the world you may be, take care. From me, until next time, bye-bye.